It's time for another Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast, and this time around we'll be talking with the guy people locally in Newton know as Mark Allen, the financial advisor, the guy who invented the Moose Grill, where you can go camping and cook hamburgers and steaks and things like that. But people around Iowa know Mark as the sports reporter on the Van and Bonnie radio show. Of course, Van and Bonnie retired a few years ago. And it's interesting how this podcast came about because a couple weeks ago, Van and several other broadcasters and I got together for lunch. We do that once a month. And Van helped name this podcast, the Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast. And he asked me how the podcast was going. And he said, Jamie, you ought to interview the funniest person in Newton. You should post on Facebook who's the funniest person in Newton, Iowa, and do a podcast with that person. And ironically, several people said Mark Allen, who used to work with Van Harden on the morning show on WHO radio. And I can remember when I would have a day off from the morning show that I did on Energy 106.7, I would tune in to Van and Bonnie on WHO, and sure enough, there would be Mark Allen talking with Van and Bonnie, and he would always have some funny stories about his kids or about life in general. And Mark is just a natural. And of course, he comes from a radio background, having worked in Iowa City on a couple of different radio stations. And in fact, he'll tell a story about how he wanted to retire from radio, but Van wanted him back on the air. And he actually broadcast from the basement of his house doing those sports reports on WHO. And he does tell some funny stories, both on the podcast and the podcast video that we have on outandaboutwithjamiegrout.com. So enjoy those, and we'll get to that conversation in just a couple of moments after we have a word from our sponsors, including Ryan's Tire and Auto on First Avenue in Newton. Those folks are just fantastic. Ryan has become a really good friend in the year that I've been doing this podcast. He called me up when he heard I was doing the podcast and wanted to be a sponsor. And on this Valentine's Day weekend, he says, we're feeling extra grateful this weekend. A huge thank you to Danielle for writing such a nice testimonial about Ryan's Tire and Auto. And this is what Danielle said. Ryan's Tire is the definition of dependable. They take care of people the right way with honesty, kindness, and a genuine desire to help. It's the kind of local business you trust without hesitation, and that trust is what keeps the community strong. And this weekend, Ryan has been giving away all kinds of stuff to all kinds of people, including my former classmate in school at Woodrow Wilson Elementary years ago, the one and only John Danley. And he has posted a picture of he and John on Facebook. He gave him a whole bunch of donuts, and he's been giving out things right and left for Valentine's weekend at Ryan's Tire and Auto right there on First Avenue in Newton. Ryan's Tire and Auto, you can depend on them. I've depended on them too. And he's set up my car with tires and oil changes. In fact, I just got an oil change just the other day at Ryan's Tire and Auto. They did a good job for me, and they'll do a good job for you too. Another big sponsor is Newton Clinic. February is Heart Month. When was your last annual checkup? I have a checkup coming up next month with my doctor at Newton Clinic, Dr. Joe Levette. An annual checkup is one of the easiest ways to stay ahead of your health. It's a chance to check in, review screenings, and talk through any concerns before they become bigger issues. Even if you're feeling great, routine checkups matter. Schedule your annual physical at Newton Clinic today. Time for your annual visit at Newton Clinic. Another fine sponsor is Advantage Credit Union.
Not all checking accounts are Olympic ready. Advantage Credit Union's Cha-Ching Rewards Checking is the gold standard that pays you 3% APY on balances up to $10,000. Simply do the things you're already doing at that other place and get paid up to $25 per month for it at ACU. Earn more on your everyday balance, plus no minimum balance or monthly service fees. Local money, local decisions, local service, and locally owned by you. Advantage Credit Union, where our members win every time.
APY's annual percentage yield restrictions apply. See Credit Union for details. Federally insured by the NCUA.
It's time for an Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast, and this time I'm excited to talk to the one and only Mark Allen, who's done a lot of things in his life. He's done radio, he's done play-by-play, been a sideline reporter for the Iowa Hawkeyes. He's been on with Van and Bonnie. He's got his own Moose Fireplace Grill. He's a financial advisor. I mean, this guy has done a lot of stuff.
And it all started with just a simple paper route at the age of 12 years old is where my working career began.
Aren't you like originally from the Quad Cities?
Iowa City.
Iowa City.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
So born in Des Moines, and then my folks moved to Iowa City. I think I was 3.
Okay.
And so I was raised in Iowa City. Yeah.
And coincidentally, don't want to get too far off track, but you went to school with my drama teacher in high school's daughter, Laura Betts.
That's
Harmon.
right. Yes.
Chuck Betts, Mr. Betts was my drama teacher.
Yep.
And one of the best teachers I ever had. He was great. And I actually did a podcast with Laura about people who are disabled.
Oh, she's a wonderful young
she
lady.
is, and she's had spina bifida for years
Yes.
and has been a real advocate for people who are handicapped. She's a wonderful, wonderful person. But what I want to do today is talk about some anecdotes, some funny
Sure.
stories, because your friend and mine, radio legend in Iowa, Van Harden. Last time I had lunch with him, he comes up with these great ideas.
Yep.
And he said, Jamie, and he, by the way, gave me the idea for the name of my podcast, Out and About with Jamie Grout. And he said, you should do a podcast with the funniest person in Newton, Iowa. And so people suggested your name, which is interesting because, occasionally when I was working at the radio station here, I would listen to you and Van and Bonnie. And you did come up with many funny stories, a lot of them dealing with your family and your
That's
kids.
where it all starts.
And,
Yes.
and it's great. So
Yep.
I'm just kind of going to leave the floor open. If you have anything interesting to tell about Van and Bonnie, about your kids or whatever, I mean, you could just, I guess I want to, Van and Bonnie are legends. They're both in the Iowa Broadcasting Hall of
Fame. Yep.
Fame. Did it for years. They're both wonderful, creative people. How many years did you work with them anyway?
I think I worked with them close to 18, 19 years altogether.
Okay.
And I left. The whole story is I was sports director at WMT KXIC over in Cedar Rapids, Iowa City. Had a nice career. Noah came along. I was doing play-by-play with the Iowa women's basketball team at that time. We were in West Lafayette, Indiana, and we had an ice storm, and the power in the hotel went out. And I'm talking to Emily on the phone, and she said, "Oh my gosh, Noah just rolled over for the first time." And I hung up the phone, and I thought, I don't think I want to be away from family anymore.
Oh.
I'm not sure this is, because at that time with women's basketball and football, I had a suitcase, upstairs in the hallway from September until mid-March, gone every other weekend, plus 1 or 2 nights out of the week doing coaches shows. And it was just a lot of time. And then you had your regular on-air shift from 5:30 to 10 in the morning. And so I just thought, okay, I needed to take control. And I think for my career and my job stability, and Edward Jones was just a wonderful decision made going on 22, 23 years ago. But I gave my 2 weeks. I said, that's it. I'm done with radio. Thanked everybody. A lot of hugs, a couple of tears. And about 3-4 months into the Edward Jones journey, Van called. Said, hey, we got to get you back on. This just, and you know what we're going to do, Mark? We're going to put everything in your basement. We'll run the phone cords and everything into your basement. So for 18 years, I was on with Van and Bonnie from my basement here in Newton, Iowa, right next to the hot water heater.
Yes. Yeah. Now, did you talk openly about that on the air, or
we couldn't?
Oh.
That was kind of, and Edward Jones was always really careful, of what I could talk about, what I couldn't talk about. I could talk about sports, family, things like that. Could not discuss any economic news or anything of that nature. So Edward Jones, very gracious to allow me to do it, but just kind of said, these are your parameters. But with Van and Bonnie, I was talking to 2 of my best friends every day.
Right.
So it wasn't like a job. It was, hey, I get to talk to Van and Bonnie today. This is great. And we would laugh. And I remember one of the best stories I told, and I think one of the hardest moments that we laughed was, there's a couple of good stories. When Noah was younger, he was having a tough time sleeping in his bed.
Okay.
So he would 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and every parent out there has gone through this. He'd wander into our room, wake us up, climb up into our bed. I'm thirsty, I'm hot, I'm cold. Then we'd get up, we'd take care of him. So finally I said, hey, buddy, I tell you what, I'll give you a quarter. every night you sleep in your own bed, next morning I'm going to give you a brand new quarter. He's like, all right, Dad, you're on. Well, he started sleeping through the nights in his own bed every morning. He'd come down for breakfast, and I'd give him a quarter because I'd already been up doing Van and Bonnie. So I'd give him a quarter. Hey, good job, bud. And then Emily would be ready to take him to preschool, and he'd put the quarter back on the counter, and I'd take the quarter, I'd put it back up on the fridge, and I gave him the same quarter for about 2 months.
I love it.
I thought it was brilliant. Years down the road, I told Noah that story. Noah does the math, and he comes back downstairs. He goes, as I figure it, you owe me about $17. There's another good story with Noah and Stella.
Okay,
I love this one.
Okay,
so
let's hear it.
Stella lost a tooth.
Uh-huh.
And we were talking about the tooth fairy.
Okay.
And Emily was gone. This is pre-Henry. Emily and I are blessed. We have 5 children altogether. And this is before Henry. And it was just that beautiful Iowa fall evening. It's misty outside. It's cold. You know, it's October-ish. I mean, it's just a beautiful fall evening. And all I wanted to do was just watch whatever football game was on television that night. I can't remember if it was a Monday night or a Thursday night. Emily's gone. Stella had lost a tooth. Tooth fairy's coming. Let's go get them, boys. So I tell Stella, okay, we're going to put the tooth right here on your dresser in her room. She's all cute. I tuck her in, give her a kiss on the forehead. I get Noah tucked in, go back downstairs, get to watching my football game. Next thing I know, those two were right by my chair. And Noah, I said, hey, what's going on, kids? It's bedtime. Yeah, Stella and I were talking. We would prefer not to have the tooth fairy go into her room.
What?
I said, okay. All right, let's go get the tooth. So we go upstairs, we get the tooth. I come back downstairs with him, and I said, we'll put the tooth right here on the kitchen counter. How's that? Tooth fairy comes in, bam, gone. Let's get to bed, kids. Yay, Dad, let's go to bed. Get them all into bed. I come back downstairs, get all situated back in my chair. All of a sudden, those two are right by me again. Stella, this time, just a cute, sweet, innocent voice. Daddy, Noah and I have talked, and we think it's best for the tooth fairy not to come into the house. I said, okay, I got your tooth. So I went out the back door, and we had a little deck on the back of the house, and I said, I'm putting your tooth right here, sweetheart. Right here on the edge. So the tooth fairy's not coming in the house. Tooth fairy will be right here. We'll get it taken care of. So get them back upstairs, tuck them in, they're fine. Tooth fairy, no issues. So next morning, I get done with Van and Bonnie, and all of a sudden I think, oh my gosh, I got to get like 4 quarters out for that tooth.
Yeah.
So I run back to my room, I get 4 quarters, I come back out and I put them. Stella comes downstairs. Noah was coming downstairs in a second, and I said, hey, look at that, tooth fairy, 4 quarters. And Emily's like, oh, yay, Stella, the tooth fairy, 4 quarters. Noah comes around the corner. Now, mind you, I told the story at the start of this story, it was a beautiful fall evening in Iowa, misty, cold. Noah comes around the corner, looks right at the 4 quarters, and then looks at me and says, how come the quarters aren't wet? And Stella looks at the quarters. Yeah, Daddy, how come the quarters aren't wet?
They got to figure it out.
What is this, Murder, She Wrote? I'm living with Angela Lansbury, for crying out loud.
Your kids are pretty smart.
Oh, this is like 5 and 3 or 4 and 2. I don't know, Jamie, but yeah.
They've got it all figured out.
Yeah, and remember the radio show Dr. Laura?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
Well, Dr. Laura and I had a love-hate relationship.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Because this is terrible. This is terrible. But there were times where I was listening to her show, and it was, and I'm driving home. It's late at night. I'm driving home from a football game that I called in Dubuque, or a high school basketball game in Des Moines, and I'm heading back over to Cedar Rapids, and I'm listening to Dr. Laura, and it just, there were people that would call in, and it was just funny.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Dr. Laura, I'm bringing home, $400 a week from my job, but my bills are $600. Do you think that's okay? Or, hey, Dr. Laura, my boyfriend just got out of jail, and he's thinking he's going to go rob a bank tonight. Should I stick with him?
Silly question.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, do you hear yourself?
Yeah.
So one morning, I went off on that show with Van and Bonnie, and I said, guys, we can do this. She's making a killing. And all she has is people come. And then I said this, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. I mean, that's all. And she made a career
Oh, yeah.
out of just preaching common sense.
Right.
That's all she did.
Right.
She preached common sense, and she made a huge career out of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember the first time that I had to apologize to our listening audience for something I said, a joke that went bad. And I think the statute of limitations have passed. I can go ahead and joke about this.
All right.
Remember when mad cow disease was in Iowa?
Sure.
So this is mid-90s?
Something like that. Yeah.
Mid-90s, late 90s. I said during the morning show on a classic rock station that I was a part of at that time.
Was this the Fox?
This was the Fox, yes.
Yes, uh-huh.
Yes,
Okay.
100.7 the Fox. And the gentleman doing the news just did a story on mad cow disease, and then we go to commercial, we come back, I don't know, next up, Led Zeppelin, the Kinks, I mean, here. And I said to my partner at that time, I said, hey, I think I drove by a cow on my way to work that had mad cow disease.
Uh-huh.
And this gentleman, Phil, looked at me, and Phil goes, what? And I said, yeah, he was dressed up like Napoleon. I thought it was funny.
Yes.
Next thing I know, later on that afternoon, the general manager pulls me into his office, and you need to apologize. We've got a lot of agricultural people listening to the show.
They're not happy.
They're not happy.
Yeah.
So the next morning, I had to apologize.
Get on the air and apologize for that.
All
Oh,
for the
gosh.
cow dressed up as
Yeah.
Napoleon
Yes,
joke.
yes.
Yep.
I want to bring up a stunt that there are probably other stunts you might think of and bring up also that you and Van did when you were both dressed in suits of armor.
Oh, that was wonderful.
Talk about that.
So it was for a charity golf outing,
Yeah.
and it was on a par 3. And Van and I stood in the middle of the par 3, and whoever hit us with a golf ball won some prize, but we never got hit.
You never got hit
No,
once?
I never did. I don't know if Van ever did.
Where did you get do you know where you got the suits
I
of armor?
honestly can't remember.
And was it hard to get into?
It was difficult to get into, but the one thing I remember about that morning, and I thought they were going to have to take Bonnie and I to the hospital. We were laughing so hard. Van gets in the golf cart, and all of a sudden, he just starts sliding in that suit of armor, sliding, and you can't stop. Nobody can stop him, and he just boom falls right out of the golf cart. And again,
I'm picturing that in my mind.
this is 4:30, 4:45 in the
Yeah.
morning, and I mean, it truly was awesome because it's sliding. It's like can't stop, bam, out of the golf cart onto the ground. We got him up, we got him back into the golf cart, and then we got him down. He did the first shift of the par 3. I had the second shift, but that was so much fun, much fun. I tell you, one thing I really enjoyed with Van and Bonnie was doing our morning shows at Camp Dodge. Those were always incredibly meaningful, incredibly poignant. Those shows were amazing. Yes, I did thoroughly enjoy the shows at Camp Dodge.
Didn't you do those? Were they on Veterans Day or something like that?
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Yeah,
those
you'd
were
have
always
big-
fun.
You'd have big crowds for those. People would show up for
Yep.
breakfast or something.
Yep,
like
we
that.
had breakfast, and then the museum was open, and it was so fun.
Yeah.
So interesting. Guests would come, and Van and Bonnie did a wonderful job of lining up just different veterans and guests, and it was great. Loved it.
You know, one thing I really enjoyed, and I did a 2-hour stint at the State Fair from the Crystal Studio.
Oh yes, yeah.
Boy, that was a lot of fun, and you meet the listeners, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, and the food that they would bring
Oh,
by.
my
Oh
gosh.
my heavens!
Yeah.
I couldn't. Yeah, we would get off the air at 9, and then I think Van and I would nap till about 10 o'clock, and then because you're in a food coma.
Sure.
Oh my heavens, the food was just incredible. Yeah.
They bring you everything. Any more kids stories that you can think of? Because I remember, don't you have a boy named Henry?
Yep, Henry John William Allen. Yes.
Okay, I remember you talking about Henry, and I don't remember exactly what you said about Henry. But
Henry's the mini-me.
okay,
And so just love that kid to death. So he's a junior right now.
Okay.
In high school. Oh my gosh. But the story that just jumped into my noggin right now has to do with the twins.
okay,
And so Max and Charlie are identical twins.
okay.
And we're playing a basketball game in Marshalltown. And again, if they're walking right towards you, you can't tell.
They are
Are identical.
Okay.
And Charlie gets called for his 5th foul. About a minute and a half left in the game. Newton's up 4 or 5 points.
Okay.
So Charlie gets called for his 5th foul, and Charlie's standing there. Well, all of a sudden, those two look at each other. And without saying a word, those two look at each other. Max starts walking towards Charlie, stands in front of Charlie. So the foul could be called on him as the official gets to the scorer's table. Well, the official knew the number. So he turns around, sees the wrong number standing there, and he just starts laughing. He's like, no, boys, you go stand over there. That's 5 on you. You sit out. And then he looks at both of them, and he's like, don't ever do that again. And Max and Charlie are laughing, and they give him a fist bump and all that stuff. But I got to credit the official. He turned around, and he was like, okay, the foul's out. No. Absolutely not, boys. Yeah, it's about 2 years ago this happened.
That's funny. That is funny. Yep. Yeah, I remember you guys telling stories on your kids. It's just
Henry's the one. We were on vacation, and we're standing there, and we're just chatting up a storm. You know, there's 7 of us, so there's always something to talk about. The twins were babies. The twins might have still been in strollers. Henry's 4, and Emily and I are sitting there talking. Well, the door opens to the elevator opens up, and we're still standing there chatting. Some other people are around us. Henry walks right onto the elevator, hits a random button. The elevator's door closes.
And he's gone.
We're like, what did he just do? Well, the next thing you know, like the elevator door opens up. We're like, what is going on? And he's still standing there. We're like, buddy, you can't
be doing that.
You can't be doing that. I think it was St. Louis, Kansas City, maybe. We're like, dude, you cannot.
Oh, man.
You can't do that.
That's funny. Do you miss being on the air at all?
I miss the people. You know, I miss the people. I miss my friends. Van and Bonnie and I are still in touch, but it's not every day.
Sure.
And I get asked that question every now and then when it comes to the sports. When it comes to again, just being on the radio. I miss the people more than I do being on the radio. I miss my friends.
Sports figures that you would talk to too.
I mean, that was incredible. I mean, just being able to sit with Dan Gable, Jim Zaleski, Tom Brands, Lisa Bluter, Angie Lee, Coach Ferentz, Scott Brohammer, the old Iowa baseball coach, and do those coaches shows and talk to them.
Were there any sports figures that were funny that you could tell some stories on, that maybe told a funny story or something?
I got to tell this. Okay. Again, I hope this doesn't.
So it might offend.
No. Okay. But we, Emily and I, we're engaged.
Okay.
And Iowa was playing someplace. It was an away game.
Okay.
And Emily came with me, and we're getting checked in and everything. And so we get over to the elevator, and Coach Ferentz is there. And, hey, Coach, how are you? Hey, Mark, how are you? And oh, fine. And I said, this is Emily. I said, this is my fiance, Emily. I think he'd met Emily a couple times before then. We just got engaged. And he's like, oh, great. And so we get on the elevator. All of a sudden, he kind of nudges me, and he goes, hey, 2 weeks ago in Madison, didn't your fiance have red hair? And Emily dies laughing. I am laughing my head off. And I said, Coach, I'm so proud of you. That is brilliant. I am so proud of you right now. Because he really is kind of a reserved fellow.
Sure.
But, man, that joke just, that was a great day.
Great.
Then this is a great Coach Ferentz moment. So Iowa played Illinois the Saturday that Noah was born.
Oh, okay.
And so I could not do the game. I mean, I just couldn't do the game. We just had our first baby. And the next week, we are playing, I believe, at Purdue. And I don't know, Jamie, I mean, we would get there and I would help unload bags from the bottom of the bus, and all that stuff. And all of a sudden I felt this hand on my shoulder, and I turned around and I said, hey, Coach, how are you? And he goes, hey, congratulations to you and Emily. And I said, thank you. I said, I really do appreciate that, Coach. And he goes, Noah, right? Noah Allen? And all of a sudden I froze, and I thought, here's a Big Ten coach. Mm-hmm. I'm low man on the totem pole. Believe me, I knew my place. I am low man on the totem pole. And he came up to congratulate me about the birth of my first son and knew the name. Yeah. There is no other story that better personifies who Kirk Ferentz is. I mean, he was just that, is that kind of man.
A classy guy. And, I did Hawk Talk, or not Hawk Talk. What is it? The show that we have after the Hawkeye games.
Sound Off. Yeah, the call-in.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was the producer for that a few times this season, and they had the Kirk Ferentz post game show, and he genuinely gets emotional at some of those news conferences,
and it's not fake.
No,
He cares so much for those kids.
Yeah.
And just cares so much about that program and that university and his own family.
Yes.
So no, there's no false bravado there at all. That is exactly who he is.
I'm going to wrap up this podcast because we're going to do a video, and I want to save one of your funny stories for our video that we do. But I want you to go ahead and give a blatant plug for your fireplace grill that you have, because people living around the area know that you're an Edward Jones advisor, financial advisor. They know you from radio, but you're getting this Moose fireplace grill out there, and it's this invention you came up with. So you go ahead and plug away and tell us about it. It's from camping experiences that you've had.
Yep. So if you go to the moosefireplacegrill.com, the products are there. We have 2 products right now. This is an outdoor fireplace grill. It's all encompassing. You do not need any other purchases. You buy this and you are ready to go. We've got them at Hy-Vee here in town, at True Value here in town, Ace Hardware. Sorry, we have it there. It's just been a fun release for some creative energy, and I've learned so much about patent law and welding. And I've just met some tremendously talented people along the way. But also, too, it's just a blast to cook on. You light the fire, you got your steaks going, your burgers, your brats, your sweet corn. It cooks anything and everything. But yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you, Jamie. But yes, just go to www.themoosefireplacegrill.com. Check us out. We're also on Facebook, The Moose Fireplace Grill, Instagram. Just find us.
Okay. Sounds good.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to do it. And thanks for your time. I appreciate that. And Mark is a fantastic guy. He is on, I still believe, the Mercy Foundation board. And I was the auctioneer and he was the MC. Still trying to raise some money for the Mercy Emergency Room. And it has to come to fruition,
Jamie,
doesn't
it? I last year, emceeing that event, and it's coming up again this April, the big fundraiser for Mercy One here in Newton. Knock on wood, to this date, I'm the only Allen family member that has never had to go to the emergency room. Everyone else has, including my dad, several times.
I've had to also.
Yes, and it's the people there are talented, they're caring, they're giving, they're awesome, they're wonderful. The actual ER rooms, they need updated. These people need a better place. They more space for them to work their miracles. And they're so close. They're so close to getting that fundraising done.
So hopefully get that done. So Van Harden, if you're listening, thank you for the idea. And the people who suggested Mark Allen, definitely, if not the funniest guy in Newton, but one of the funniest guys in Newton. Great storyteller.
Thank you, buddy.
And I know there are people that miss you on the radio, but hey, if you want a funny story, give Mark a call or stop into the Edward Jones office and he'll tell you some. Or watch the video. You can find it on my YouTube channel or on outandaboutwithjamiegrout.com. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Out and About with Jamie Grout. Other fine sponsors include Wesley Life Park Center. Pursue your joy at Park Center by offering living options across a continuum. Park Center provides vital, enriching environments for everyone, a community for healthy living focused on holistic health and well-being. Their programming enhances emotional, intellectual, and spiritual wellness and enables you to live a life that's healthier in every way. Park Center is at home in Newton, with many residents and team members having lived in their lives. To learn more about Park Center's different levels of living and to find the lifestyle that's right for you, contact Lisa Zylstra at 641-791-5000. That's 641-791-5000. Other sponsors include Lynette Baker, Halo Branded Solutions, Westside Java Coffee Bar, and Made Right in downtown Newton. Until next time, Out is out. See ya.